Hello, hello, welcome, welcome
Hello.
to another MSI Insider live stream. But it's not just MSI today, because I'm here with Martijn, our resident visitor from AMD.
Hello.
For the people who don't know yet, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Martijn. Very long time fan for components in this industry, very long time as well. Average gamer, I would say, nowadays. Used to
average
be more
in terms of...
No, average skills,
okay.
skills mostly now, but used to be very competitive and also done a lot of overclocking. It's always
easier when you're younger, right?
It's easier when you're younger, yeah. But also when you get to play with all this hardware, then obviously you spend more time testing products and being very, very excited about what we're about to speak to today as well. So very happy to speak to our latest generation Ryzen products, obviously, which we'll go into a moment, I guess. So yeah.
Because
Thanks
today will be about your latest product, the AMD Ryzen 7 9850X3D. If you're not interested in gaming, only in productivity, then this is not your live stream. Because this is a real gaming CPU, right?
Absolutely, this is our latest and greatest. So what we've done is obviously with the very, very popular 9800 X3D, we looked at ways on how we can further improve on that product, and that's brought us to the 9850 X3D. 8 cores, 16 threads, a Zen 5 architecture, with an upgraded, I would say, boost clock to 5.6 gigahertz, unlocking even more performance and becoming the new fastest gaming CPU in the world. So very excited for those who are frame chasers, who are highly competitive in gaming and obviously want the latest and greatest, but also a great upgrade for anybody who's on a different platform, a previous generation or a socket AM5 on a non-X3D series CPU, but is looking for a significant upgrade in terms of frame rate by not just upgrading the graphics card, but also the CPU. Yeah.
Before we go into all details about this CPU, you have a special surprise for our viewers, right?
Yeah, I brought two, and I've got the reason why is because we're giving away one in today's stream, but I think you can apply for it today for a chance to win this one, but also I believe next week as well, right, in the stream?
Yeah, so the giveaway will open now, so you can sign up immediately, and in next stream, so that will be in 2 weeks time, on the 4th of March, then we will pick our winner for this CPU. So you can already go to msi.com/2/insider or follow the direct link on the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat. That will lead you to Gleam. There you can perform certain actions. The more actions you perform, the bigger chance you have to win. And we're giving away several prizes because some viewers throughout this stream will already win a Steam wallet code. And next week on the 4th of March, we will draw our special winner for this new Ryzen 7 9850 X3D. So thanks again to Martijn and AMD for sponsoring this prize. And I think for the gamers out there, this is a cool prize to win.
Absolutely, and it's open to everybody, right? Everybody can win, participate.
Few exceptions, it is worldwide, but unfortunately because of certain rules in certain countries, we have to exclude a couple of countries because they see Gleam, like the system we use, the type of giveaway we do, like a raffle, they see it as gambling.
All right.
So
just want to make sure we get the legal stuff out of the way.
Yeah, we had to unfortunately exclude certain regions, so I'm sorry in case you're in one of those regions, but in case you can enter, you will see it when you follow the link. Make sure to do so. Yeah,
so for a chance to win, make sure to follow the Gleam link that's been put on the stream, right? So let's go ahead. Talking about the CPU, I mentioned this is the latest iteration and the latest addition to our Ryzen 9000 series and Ryzen 9000 X3D series more specifically. It features second generation AMD 3D V-Cache, so I'll get into more details in a moment about that, because that's a major change over the previous generation X3D products, for example in the 7000 series or the 5000 series.
That's what I have.
That's what you have?
The 5000, yeah. I'm still on AM4.
Legendary CPU.
I use a 5700 X3D in my mini ITX.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Oh, it's perfect in a mini ITX
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there's a major difference between that CPU and this CPU. And obviously this one is therefore also fully unlocked for overclocking for both the CPU and the memory frequency. It's drop-in ready for any AM5 motherboards. Obviously you need to check your motherboard manufacturer's product page if you have the latest BIOS, obviously, to make sure it's bootable out of the box.
I do recommend to update it though, because in our latest BIOS version we also have optimizations for this new CPU.
Right.
So yes, you can boot it it up, so you don't need something else first in order to set everything.
Yeah.
But I would recommend to use the updated BIOS version. On our motherboard pages you can find more details, and you can also find the optimized version for this CPU.
Perfect, and I would say if you always have access to your older CPU, flash it first using your older CPU, and then obviously every motherboard on AM5 has BIOS upgrade via USB as well, so you don't always need your your previous generation CPU, but it just makes it a lot more convenient and easier to do.
If you already have a stable system running, that's always great if you can already update your BIOS.
And then swap the CPU out. Yeah, that's even better. But yeah, as you see highlighted here in gold, leadership gaming performance or gaming experience, that's what this CPU is all about. That's exactly what the Ryzen 7 9850 X3D is here to deliver. And we got some benchmarks to show you in a moment as well. And I think you're also going to do a few things on the live stream today, right?
Yeah, later on in the stream we will do a deep dive. We will talk about in more detail about the two systems we have in front of us as well. But we will do a bit of a comparison between X3D and non-X3D, and especially for memory performance. So it is no secret that memory prices are crazy at the moment, especially DDR5 really increased in price. So people are looking for ways to save money, and potentially a slower memory kit, so with lower frequencies, with higher timings, can save you quite a bit of money nowadays. But the impact on performance is very different between different CPUs. So later on in the stream we'll provide a little bit of a comparison, both live, but also Ruud already did some testing in the past couple of weeks. So we have a lot of data to show you as well, so you know what you can expect if you're going for an X3D CPU or a different CPU, how big the influence of a certain memory kit or a single stick or whatever is.
Yeah, and that's, I think, also a nice segue of the importance of 3D V-Cache when it comes to gaming, because obviously we set out with 3D V-Cache where we saw the major games in frame rate, and now, especially with lower frequency memory being tested or single stick configurations, you see far less impact on X3D CPUs, and I think that's also what a lot of people are interested in, and we saw plenty of interesting articles about this already, and I think there's lots of opportunities there to still build quite affordable system now using various memory configurations, as you said. But yeah, stay tuned to find out more when Michiel and Eric start testing this on the stream as well. Yeah,
because I think nowadays a lot of people will also be in doubt, do I go, if you have a certain budget, if you want to go for the latest generation, like go for a 9700X for example, or should you go for a previous generation X3D, like the 7800 X3D. So hopefully we can give a little bit of background information there so you can make the correct choice for your specific situation.
Yeah, and it's all part of the momentum, right? I mean, later down the line, hopefully this will improve as well. And then you can always make a different choice when it comes down to productivity. But I'm thinking you're going to show that as well in the stream today.
Yeah, we will do a lot of different scenarios, and also in our live testing, we will also do a lot of different scenarios. So we've got different memory kits. We will use different settings. We will use single channel, dual channel to see what is the impact of that. So for example, if you buy one stick when you build a new system and later you want to expand to more memory, that you add a second stick, that's of course now also a bigger topic than it used to be. Because of the memory prices. So yeah, a lot of different scenarios we will go through, and hopefully people can make at least an informed decision and maybe also a little bit of future proofing already.
Yeah, maybe it's a good reason to not only upgrade yourself but also ask a friend and share a memory kit together.
That's definitely an option.
Right? One of those things. I mean, it's just been Valentine's Day, but you know, you get my point.
Maybe you can find a late Valentine.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you offer them a RAM stick, they will be your Valentine nowadays.
Yeah. That's a huge gift nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's get into it.
Did you see the video, by the way, of the guy who got married, I believe it was in Turkey, and his friend got him a 5090 and a memory kit. I don't know what the size of the memory kit was.
Right.
But nowadays, if you give someone a memory kit, that's a big wedding gift.
That's the ring itself nowadays. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's get into it. I think we've got a couple of slides just for people, just a refresher a little bit on what Ryzen 9000 series processors and our portfolio looks like today. So obviously at the top end we have our Ryzen 9 parts in the form of the 9950 X3D, so that's the 16-core part. With 3D V-Cache, with that same second generation, best of both worlds, so best in gaming and best in productivity, what we can offer combined in a single CPU. And then below that we have the 9950X, that's the non-X3D part. Also 16 cores, but then obviously more targeted towards productivity and less towards gaming. You can still perfectly game on that CPU. Obviously, it's still a very, very high-end enthusiast CPU. And
in productivity, it's also not any less than the 9950 X3D.
Absolutely not. And then a 9900 X3D if you're more budget conscious, for example, but still want 3D V-cache for that great gaming experience, but do productivity on the side. You have your 12-core CPU available as well. Very similar 9900X and so on and so on. I'll not mention everything here, but as you can see, the one highlighted here, the newest edition, is the Ryzen 7 9850 X3D, the one that we're going to talk about today, and the one that we brought and also on the test bench, right? So yeah, that's our focus of today. But as you can see, compared to the 9800 X3D, a major jump in boost frequency from 5.2 gigahertz all the way to a whopping 5.6 gigahertz now for this 9850 X3D specifically, and that'll give us somewhat performance uplift depending on the game title that you see, of anything between 3 to 10% or sometimes even more depending on the game title that you choose or play. But it's all within that same power envelope, that 120 watts. Yeah, so very similar to a 9800 X3D, but very much a nice uplift that we could bring to the market. Obviously, when a production improved, when everything improved, and the whole Granite Ridge or Ryzen 9000 series processors start to improve, when they mature.
By the way, some people may be wondering, because you call the 9850 X3D the fastest gaming CPU. So when you see this overview, you of course see the 9950 X3D, and it looks to be clocked higher. But something to keep in mind there is that it's a dual CCD CPU. So you have one X3D CCD with 3D V-cache, and one regular CCD without the 3D V-cache, but that one is clocked slightly higher. So that's the 5.7 gigahertz you will
advertised,
see. Yeah, so it's not specifically that the 9950 X3D will be faster in gaming than the 9850 X3D, for example.
Correct.
So it is more like indeed the best of both worlds, in case you also do productivity, in case you can utilize those 16 cores, which you don't really need for gaming.
Not yet. In some cases you may, flight simulation and so on. You also see
and also if
memory bandwidth is important in those types of titles, for example.
And also if you do like multitasking during gaming, then there is definitely a use case for that. So for example,
if you're a streamer, exactly. Yeah.
Then or YouTuber, and you do recordings and stuff like that during your gameplay, then that's definitely a very viable option. If you just do gaming and no content creation, then it is not like the 9850 X3D will be any slower in gaming than the 9950 X3D. So yeah, both very interesting CPUs, different use cases. If you only care about gaming, Ryzen 7 is basically the way to go. If you also want to do content creation, then it depends a bit. If you do gaming and content creation, then 9950 X3D. If you only do content creation, 9950X.
Yeah,
also a very viable option.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I would pull that even broader if you want. If you're only about gaming, then the entire X3D series is what you want to look at. And obviously the other parts are perfectly fine at gaming as well and delivering very, very good game performance. But if you only care about gaming, any X3D series product is the one to go for, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, but depending on budget, of course.
Sure.
X3D, it does have a little bit of a higher price. So if you're more into entry level, like there is no answer for like a Ryzen 5 9600, for example.
No,
but it still offers very decent gaming performance.
And you still have an upgrade path because everything's drop-in ready on socket AM5. So you have your brilliant-looking B850 boards here, for example.
So also if you're still on like a 7600, for example, Ryzen 5, so previous gen, then you also have this upgrade path.
Yeah, we launched that back in August 2022, top of my head, with the Raphael series, 7000 series. But if you're on that today and you're considering upgrading, then you can simply drop in this Ryzen 7 9850 X3D or anything else that's been shown on this without any hassle, without any difficulty. Sure.
Let's talk a bit about the 3D V-cache technology itself, because this is not the first generation you have. Can you maybe explain a little bit about the different generations and how they compare?
So obviously we were very, very excited when we first launched the Ryzen 7 5800 X3D with the first generation 3D V-cache.
Which was a game changer as well.
Which literally almost a game changer in terms of frame rates, in terms of performance, what anything could offer at the time, 100%.
And also in terms of efficiency with gaming.
Correct,
Like the power consumption was still very low while getting very good frame rate.
Yeah, it was. I would say
Sorry,
almost.
mini ITX guy. I always also talk about efficiency.
Yeah, no, exactly. But mini ITX, I know the pain and struggle sometimes of airflow and that kind of stuff, and then efficiency really matters, right? Because you want to keep your temperatures low and your frame rates high.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the 5800 XRD was, I would say, almost a nearly perfect solution, but it wasn't that perfect because you were missing the part where you can start overclocking your CPU as well. So that was one of the things that we tried to introduce later on. We couldn't make that in time for the 7800 XRD, but now with the second generation 3D V-Cache introduced on the 9000 series, you can also now overclock your CPU cores as well as the memory because of a major change. And that's basically the 3D V-Cache part of it is now that layer is now put below the CPU cores instead of on top of the CPU cores, closing off the CPU cores and the heat dissipation, making it more difficult for your cooler to dissipate the heat, and then obviously the temperature of your CPU cores would rise. And that basically introduced all kinds of challenges thermally. Now with this change, putting this 3D V-Cache below the CPU cores, your cores can now breathe more easily, basically dissipating that heat more easily, which allows us to also keep thermals much more in check, and then basically allow you for more headroom and more overclocking, safely.
So basically makes the CPU less sensitive to, for example, voltage changes and things like that.
Yeah, less sensitive to that, but also if you have more direct contact on the most hot part on the CPU, which are obviously the cores, because they do all the work, and that's where most of the power goes, rather than an I/O die, for example, then you would obviously want to have direct contact with the thermal solution as close as possible to the CPU cores in this case.
That's also why some people also delit their CPUs
exactly.
to get more direct contact.
Yeah.
By the way, that's not covered by your warranty in case you're...
Oh, you can try. I mean, we're all enthusiasts here, so
that's true.
But it's something that we've looked into, and then what the engineers came up with, and which is why we're so happy about these products are the second generation 3D V-Cache. So that helps us not only tackle some of the thermal challenges, but also make sure that the CPU runs a little bit cooler as well at the same time, but also unlocked additional performance for us. So that's why the 9800 XRD is, for example, much higher clocked than the 7800 XRD or the 5800 XRD.
So the 7000 series was still first generation?
That was still first generation 3D V-Cache. So that was kind of held back by the fact that you still had somewhat of a thermal challenge because of the CPU cores. And now with the second generation and the 9800 XRD or any 9000 series XRD CPU, you no longer have that challenge as much as you had before. So that also allowed us to have more headroom in the CPU core frequency. So that's why the maximum boost frequency already on the 9800 XRD increased by 700 megahertz. As you may remember, we were on 4.5, top of my head, to now 5.2 on the 9800 XRD. Now up to 5.6 gigahertz on the new 9850 XRD. So
we're also
huge
already
steps,
1.1 gigahertz higher. Than
and you're basically almost close to a non-XRD series class product when it comes to CPU frequency. So that's an absolute win here for the second generation 3D V-Cache parts. And that basically allows you to also give away more tweakability, right, to the end user, to the enthusiast who want to play around with their CPU, undervolt it, overclock it, set their system using VF curve, for example, especially in mini ITX, right? That's something that you're absolutely interested in. And that would be something that we're very, very happy about, to give back to the enthusiasts and give them the control over their hardware again, right? It's just fun to play around with. So.
Enthusiasts, but it's actually also interesting for the more novice user, because when for the 7000 series, you, for example, had the Ryzen 7 7700X, and then as XRD counterpart, you had the 7800 XRD. But of course, it was still the first generation 3D V-Cache, which is why you were a bit more conservative also with the clock speeds. So in productivity tasks, for example, you would see that the 7700X would perform a little bit better than the 7800 X3D because it was clocked a bit higher. And also certain specific game titles are more sensitive to frequency than to 3D V-Cache. Other games is the other way around. But then you also saw in certain examples that the non-X3D CPU could potentially be faster than X3D one. But that changed with the 9000 series, because now the frequency is also on par. So you also get the best performance in case your game is frequency sensitive, but also if it's cache sensitive for a 3D V-Cache. And also interesting with the Ryzen 9 actually, because the 7950X without the X3D was faster in productivity than the X3D version because the X3D CCD was clocked a bit lower. But nowadays, you don't have that downside anymore with the Ryzen 9 either, because also the second CCD is clocked higher.
And that's why, and you bring up a good point, that's why the 9000 series are a huge uplift over the 7000 series as well. If you do not only gaming, but also other things, and you still want to choose a X3D CPU because the majority of your time spent is gaming, but you don't have the downside of it, to your point. And so that's why we're so happy with the second generation 3D V-Cache products, which is in the 9000 series. It gives people a lot more performance out of the box. So even if you don't care about tweaking or tuning,
it already just clocks higher.
It clocks higher. It will automatically give you that additional performance. It will automatically give you the best thermals that we can deliver on an X3D series CPU this generation compared to previous generation. So yeah, we are very, very excited about these products.
I'm curious, chat, how many of you are running an X3D CPU? And I'm also curious to hear, why did you pick the X3D one? Is it like a certain game that performs much better with 3D V-Cache? Is it maybe efficiency? Because I know mini ITX again, a lot of people building mini ITX systems, like in the 7000 series, specifically chose for the 7800 X3D because it was also more efficient than the 7700X.
Right.
Being clocked lower a bit also could run on lower voltages.
Yeah.
Slow Smokes is saying on Twitch chat, going to buy X3D, running older AMD right now.
Well, then you have a perfect upgrade.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, either of these, right?
We have a visitor behind us.
Look at that. You're trying to be funny.
Wait,
Do you see him? Oh.
Yeah, so our new studio is still under construction. So we have an interesting green screen still, which basically two parts of green screen. And Eric was right in the middle of them. By the way, if you want to see Eric later on, he will also join the stream. Underworld 3 says 9800 X3D will most likely upgrade. Then I'm curious to hear, are you going to upgrade to like a 9850 X3D or to a Ryzen 9, maybe because we also want more productivity performance?
I mean, that's just a great question to ask as well, right? I mean, you have upgrade options. I mean, you're not just looking at going from a 7000 series to a 9000 series, but at the same time, if you were on the 6-core or 8-core part, you now have the opportunity to go to a newer generation and increase your core count at the same time. So you basically get a double performance uplift in a way.
Ender says 9850 X3D, just gaming PC. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, absolutely.
Grim Razor was lucky, says have a 5800 X3D, using it because I want it.
Wow, that's a great prize.
Yeah, in 2 weeks' time, someone else will get lucky.
Yeah.
Shweddy already says in Twitch chat, hopefully 2 weeks after winning one.
Very good. Keep signing up, boys.
Yeah. Gigaram says, I would have an X3D, but I'm saving to go to AM5 rather than AM4.
All right.
Yeah, makes sense. I also used X3D as basically like a last upgrade for my AM4 system. So I was running a Ryzen 5 5600X. And I basically wanted to give my AM4 system one more performance boost before I retired it in a couple of years. So I bought a 5700 X3D, which runs fine for now. And eventually, when it becomes too slow, I will, of course, also make the upgrade to a different platform.
I still have one at home as well, running one of my rigs.
Yeah,
5800 X3D, it's perfectly fine.
I did undervolt mine a little bit, but I also have a very small cooler.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, oh, but the 5700 X3D is quite doable.
Oh yeah,
it's a very efficient CPU.
I have upgraded to the 9950 X3D and have no regrets, says Diogenes of Sinopi YouTube.
Yeah. I also see Fearcheck is saying I have 7800 X3D that I love, really help with Tarkov frame rates, and honestly all the games I play.
Yeah, it really depends on the game you play, and that's also why we always recommend, looking at reviews out there. Go check them out. Whether it's the 7800 XRD, 9800 XRD, or any other new part like the 9850 XRD or 9950 XRD, go check that out. Go check out your favorite reviewers, if they've tested your favorite games. But I'm sure you will find good performance data there that'll show you why it makes sense to potentially upgrade, especially on if you're on an older platform and on non-XRD class products or a competition product.
Explosive Cat also says, my 7800 XRD is my first AMD platform ever, and I was positively surprised how powerful it is. Yeah, for sure. I think the 7800 XRD is also still a quite a viable option nowadays.
Absolutely.
Because it's the price is quite competitive nowadays as well. And if you want to build like a very efficient system, then it's still very good CPU to have.
I run that in my second system. So
Nice.
it's XDD in my household. That's it. 5800
XDD everywhere.
That's XDD everywhere. Yeah. I still haven't upgraded yet because it's also very good. So
Yeah.
May do one day, but I don't need overclocking on that one because it's also mini ITX. So,
Yeah. I didn't overclock, just undervolted.
Yeah.
GigaRam says, I won't retire mine. It gets upgraded to my server when I go to AM5. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense as well. Some people still AM4, 3600X, 5600X. I actually also still have my 5600X, but it's now in my home theater PC.
Oh, that's a very powerful home theater PC.
Yeah, but I also use it like as a game console.
Ah, okay.
So it's hooked up to the TV.
Do you play retro games or?
Depends a bit, but sometimes we play like with my girlfriend. I play like co-op couch games, for example, that I use it for.
All right.
So yeah, that's quite nice to have it there. So always basically my old components for my PC, because both are mini ITX, I just move them to to that system and I upgrade my main.
There's nobody in the family who says, hey Michiel, please, looking for an upgrade here.
My girlfriend doesn't want it because she wants to have like the more decent upgrade.
Ah, okay.
She doesn't want my old hardware, she also wants the more modern stuff.
Yeah, she
knows
knows what to ask for. Yeah.
She's too picky.
Yeah. Okay.
Lev saying, just got a 9800 X3, now I'm finding out there is a 9850 X3. No worries, 9800 X3 is still a very, very good gaming CPU.
Yep.
Later we'll also show a bit of comparison.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this is also not a replacement of the 9800 X3D. It's just an addition to the current stack and our portfolio.
Yeah. So
we will still have the 9800 X3D from our partners in the channel, where you can buy from retail, e-tail, system builders. They will continue to have the 9800 X3D as well.
And the 50 is a bit faster and a bit more expensive, so it's you have some more choices. Yeah.
I do like where we ended up, bro. I mean, looking at the reviews and the pricing and the difference between these CPUs, I think they're pretty competitive, to be honest.
But I don't think there is any reason to be sad with 9800 X3D.
Absolutely not. Nope. I mean, we're still very happy with the 5700 XD and 5800 XD as well. But
for sure.
if you're, really looking for the highest performance, then obviously every generation and every new CPU that comes out, especially on an X3D, it absolutely makes sense to consider that upgrade.
When I bought my 5700 X3D, the 7800 X3D was already out for months, but of course I was still on AM4, so that was the
reason. Yeah, but there's so much to live for now on socket AM5. If you look at connectivity, future upgrade options. So if you're, let's say, considering upgrading or building new, then I would highly recommend looking at socket AM5 solutions right now.
Yeah, with longevity, that makes sense. For me, it was mostly last upgrade before
because
I
you had it
my,
already. No, it makes sense, and it's great that you have those options, right?
Dave Reed says in Twitch chat, got a 5700X for my wife and a 9800 X3D for myself. Really happy with both of them. Yeah, they're both good CPUs for sure. Vec Tom is asking in Twitch chat, I have a question about the motherboard. What model will fit this new 9850 X3D? Basically all AM5 motherboards. So we've got BIOS upgrades available also for older models, so you also get those optimizations for that new CPU also, for example, on 600 series motherboard. So basically if you have an AM5 motherboard, you can run this CPU. Yeah,
or if you don't have an AM5 motherboard just yet, if you're looking to buy something and you find something available at your favorite retailer, for example, an A620, B650, B650E, X670, X670E, but more likely to find the B840, B850, X870 and X870E.
Something to keep in mind though is that if you also want to do overclocking with this, and if you go with like a really entry-level older A620, that might not be the best combination because you might throttle in certain situations if you go too far on the VRM on those kind of boards, because they're not really intended to go with such a high-end CPU. But it's still an A core, it's not extremely power hungry, so if you're going stock, then in most situations you'll still be fine. However, since X3D nowadays also supports overclocking, if you really want to push it, then try to go for a motherboard that is a bit more catered towards those kind of things as well.
Yeah, like a B850 or an X870.
Yeah, indeed.
And you also, you
But
will
also
find...
order like B650. Some boards are also still
Yeah,
have very
absolutely.
good VRM and can still run it perfectly fine.
Yeah, and if you are having doubts, and once again, go ahead and check out your favorite reviewer. I'm sure many of them mention like suggested configurations that go best with these CPUs, but also your most reputable system builders, for example, in the region. They should have like clear price performance and price points that they're trying to hit with their systems, and most likely they're well balanced between motherboard, CPU, DRAM, and so on, and graphics.
What difficult name. Sia Quatak 90 is saying I switched from the 5950X to the 9800X 3D just so my CPU is now over 9000.
Yeah, that's a good point though.
Yeah,
they're all over 9000. So.
And that's actually moving from 16 cores to 8 cores, but because there's a couple of generations in between, I think even in productivity performance, it shouldn't be too far behind anymore.
No, and I think in gaming, you're looking at 30, 40, maybe 50% more performance. So that's huge.
In certain titles, for sure.
That's cool.
Any options for laptops here? You actually do also have X3D on certain laptop CPUs, right?
I think we do, but I'm more of a component guy, to be honest. So.
I have the same problem, so I also cannot say too many useful things about laptops. But maybe in a future live stream, we can possibly invite someone from our laptop team who could provide a bit more background information about that.
Well, absolutely, and if you're in doubt, you can always check out AMD.com or MSI.com and find your laptops there and browse by CPU, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're real DIY system enthusiasts.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Let's take a look at a bit more detail what the CPU is all about. Because, of course, the main thing here is that the frequency is now really high for an X3D part. Yeah,
that's helping obviously deliver that more performance over the already great 9800 X3D or the previous fastest gaming CPU in the world.
So that one, max boost frequency of 5.2
5.2 gigahertz up to 5.2 gigahertz.
Yeah, and now up to 5.6.
Yeah, and then obviously you'll be rewarded with great clocks if you have a great thermal solution attached to it, right? And if you make sure that your temperature stay as low as possible, then you're most likely hitting the boost frequency for a longer duration of time on more threads or more cores by being rewarded with better thermal solution that you attach to it. Yeah.
And it will also differ per game how much difference you will see with the existing 9800 X3D.
Yeah.
Like if a game is specifically 3D V-cache sensitive, then the difference may be smaller than for certain games that are very sensitive to frequency. Then you will, of course, see a bigger difference. But also productivity, because those are usually quite sensitive to frequency as well.
Yeah, and to that point, and also back to the gaming point where frequency matters, having 5.6 gigahertz and 3D V-cache basically allows you to both benefit
eliminate
from the 3D V-cache.
Yeah.
I mean, it limited bottlenecks literally on, with previous generation with X3D, when you had lower frequency, for example, you were missing out on somewhat of a performance on certain titles. You're no longer in that situation because now you get the best of both worlds. You get X3D up to a whopping 104 megabytes of cache, but also up to 5.6 gigahertz of boost frequency. So you never have to worry about, am I getting the most performance for any game title that I throw at it? Yes, you get the best performance because this is simply the best of both.
Agency 1001 is asking, can you give us the technical details before you start benchmarking? What kind of technical details do you want? Because, for example, the systems, later on we will introduce the systems to you so you know exactly what's on there. Also, in terms of memory, in terms of graphics card, the motherboard that's underneath them.
I think it's a good question. Let's park that to maybe once you're ready, and then we can go into details, right? We can.
But also, if you want to know more technical details about the CPU, if you're curious about anything about the CPU, make sure to drop it in the chat. And Martijn, of course, is here to answer those questions.
Do you want to see some performance?
Yes, of course. I think that's what everyone's curious about. What can we expect of this CPU?
Yeah. So again, as mentioned, it's not for most people to consider upgrading from a 9800 X3D to a 9850 X3D because you're already on one of the greatest CPUs out there for gaming. We took.
You can, but the difference will be
You
smaller
can,
than with the previous.
And it depends on if you're overclocking, if you're gaming on certain FPS titles that require the highest CPU frequency and highest CPU performance, introducing 600, 700, 800 FPS, for example, then obviously you would want to have the latest and greatest. But if you look at one generation ago, again, this goes back to the first generation 3D V-Cache against second generation, and then obviously Zen 4 against Zen 5, as well as 4 nanometer against 5 nanometer on previous generation. You can get a performance uplift depending on the title, as you can see. I think about 20-25% in some games, and we chose an average of 11% gen over gen. But again, go check out your favorite reviewers to back up those claims. But yeah, you'll find double-digit performance uplift gen over gen, and I think that alone is already great from a CPU generational uplift. That's usually something you'll find in a graphics card upgrade, for example.
And in this overview, you can also quite clearly see which games, at least in this overview, are more sensitive to that frequency, because that is a big difference between the 7800 X3D and the 9850 X3D, with a maximum boost difference of 1.1 gigahertz. It was, right?
Which one?
So the 7800 X3D was up to 4.5 and now up to 5.6.
There's 1.1 gigahertz faster up to. Yeah. And then at the same time, you could go into details and look at 1% lows, that many of reviewers do, thankfully, today as well, because this is where you find the most performance feel when you upgrade your CPU, right? Because you want to look at when is the situation, let's say, less optimal, and then that's when you want to make sure that you get the highest FPS gain. So.
Sneak peek, by the way, that can also make a difference in memory configuration. So later on, while we test with this, you will also see in certain situations that the average is almost as high, but the 1% lows can be a bit lower.
Right.
So it can be a bit deceptive when you only look at average frame rates, because the 1% lows are usually what really makes a game stutter, for example, so when it doesn't feel as smooth anymore.
Right.
So I think that's sometimes a bit overlooked, because people like to look at averages. What is the average frame rate?
But or max FPS in some cases, yeah.
But average, or the 1% lows, definitely something interesting to look at as well when you look at benchmarks. But nowadays, luckily, more and more media and reviewers are also including this in their test results. So that's also a bit easier to find nowadays than in the past, when you basically only had access to the average availability.
So when you're already on a great CPU like the Ryzen 7 7800 XRD, you still get a very, very decent performance uplift, but at the same time you also get the overclocking options and all the tuning and the tweakability with the new 9850 XRD or 9800 XRD or any 9000 series CPU over the previous generation. But this just goes to show the 7800 XRD for a long time was already the fastest gaming CPU. So anything below that, you get an even more performance uplift, right? And whether it's on the 7000 series or AMD's AM4 platform or anything of the competition, you're still going to get many, many double-digit performance uplifts over those generation CPUs. Yeah.
Let me quickly have a look at chat. Vectom is asking, when buying a processor, is there thermal paste included with it? No, but it is often included with your CPU cooler, and sometimes it's already pre-applied. So that basically means that if you have the copper plate usually on a CPU cooler, there is already thermal paste on that copper plate, so you can immediately put the CPU cooler on your CPU and you're fine, you're good to go. With more expensive CPU coolers, often there is like a little tube included, so you can also use it multiple times. So if in case you remove it to maybe upgrade your CPU or whatever, then you can use some thermal paste again to repaste your new CPU with. So that's not something you will find with your CPU, but you will find with your CPU cooler. So these CPUs, for example, they don't come with a cooler nowadays, but I think more of your entry-level CPUs.
Yeah, we still have a few out there with the cooler in the box, but for most of the high-end ones, especially the ones with 120 watt TDP and higher, they will not come with an AMD branded cooler. So
because also they perform just better if you have like a higher-end cooling solution.
Yeah, and we want to just ensure that everybody gets the best experience out of these processors, right? So when you upgrade, and especially when you move from a Ryzen 7 to a Ryzen 9, then obviously your experience will be much more performance, but at the same time it will come at usually a higher power draw as well. And to fully enjoy that new performance, then obviously you need a really, really good, most of the times third-party cooler to go with that. Whether it's an AIO, high-end air cooler, that's all fine, but it's something that we don't offer in our boxed products. So.
I think it also makes sense because, at least in my experience, I always eventually collected way too many included coolers that I would never use because I always would use an aftermarket cooler with a higher capacity, of course.
Yeah.
So I think it's useless to waste money on a cooler that a lot of people wouldn't use anyway, and these CPUs are more targeted at enthusiasts, of course, and they tend to use aftermarket coolers.
Yeah, and that actually you bring up a good point because not just the aftermarket cooler or the included cooler, but also the same with the graphics that is included with the Ryzen 9000 series. There's 2 CUs in there, which many people claim, hey, I'm never going to use it. But what at that one moment when you want to troubleshoot and you don't have a graphics card, or the graphics card becomes an issue that you would want to use something at least to turn a picture on the screen, at least you have something that's included with those Ryzen 9000 series and Ryzen 7000 series and 8000G, obviously, with integrated graphics. So that's included. Whether you like it or not, but it's included in the product. And
you don't have to use it.
You don't have to use it. And obviously, please, when you're a gamer, don't make the mistake of mishandling the HDMI cable and putting that into the wrong HDMI port.
Yeah. Don't plug it into the motherboard if you use a discrete graphics card.
Yeah.
Unless you specifically want to, because I guess sometimes we have like exotic setups in our live stream. So what I sometimes use the integrated graphics for is if my HDMI in the graphics card is already occupied by the capture card, but I still specifically need HDMI output for a certain screen. So sometimes I use like a portable monitor and they don't have a display port, only USB-C with display port.
Right.
But then I also use the integrated graphics to get my signal to my portable monitor, and I use the graphics card.
But you see, that's one of those examples. But the same thing can be said for box coolers that are included by default. Yeah. That sometimes you want to quickly test something, and then that box cooler is very convenient. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So. But many of the users still use the standard cooler as well, which obviously, especially
because
when you're looking
at... Because up until what CPU do they come with?
Top of my head, I think our Wraith Prism SR4 cooler does up to 105 watts. And so that's rated up to that TDP. And then obviously it's up to you if you think that's respectable in terms of thermal performance as well as noise levels, obviously. So. And
it is included with non-X CPUs only, or?
No. Also, previous generation X series had them as well.
But in the current generation, it's not included with
no,
X?
I don't think it is. Yeah. No.
And by the way,
maybe the 9600X.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ryzen 5
and
the 9600. Yeah.
And the coolers that then come with it, they also come with pre-applied thermal paste, for example.
Yeah. But yeah, we to go to that point, we recognize that many of the enthusiasts, especially when you're on the latest and greatest technology, they usually go for a third-party cooling solution because they want to get the most performance out of the CPU. And if you look at the performance data, for example, or if you look at any reviewer's performance data, they also use a lot of those third-party cooler solutions like AIOs to get the best out of the product.
See a question in chat, when is it ideal to reapply thermal paste? I would recommend always when you take off the cooler, repaste it. So also, even if you keep the cooler and the CPU the same, as soon as you take it out, especially if you had it on there for a longer time, it may dry out a bit, but also dust can get in there. And I wouldn't recommend reusing thermal paste.
No, so you never want to do that because you're going to get air trapped in between as well, which basically is counterproductive to what you were trying to do, which is basically close the CPU heatsink to the CPU for a better thermal
kind of
dissipation.
Vacuums on there.
Exactly. So without any air bubbles in between or any dust or things that you mentioned that could get stuck in between, you lose thermal dissipation performance.
Anything.
Yeah.
So basically, every time you're going to mount a CPU cooler on there, make sure it's freshly pasted, and you will always get the best cooling performance.
And clean both the CPU and the thermal heatsink as well.
Yeah. Because otherwise, you still have the leftovers of the previous in there. Victor is asking, can I buy the G-Skill RAM kit you're using? Well, not specifically this one, but this G-Skill kit is still for sale in the market. Yep. By the way, we have 2 memory kits. We have G-Skill kit and we have a Kingston kit.
Kingston, right? Yeah.
So now we had the comparison with the 7800 X3D. Yeah. Now let's have a look at the 9800 X3D.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. Like, if you're already on the great 9800 X3D, like some of your users are, then you can see that there is performance uplift depending on the game title, but it's not always as much as you expected, or not as much as the double digit that you were looking for on the previous generation uplift or any other CPU uplift, for example. So it's most likely the target would be people that are building new or are upgrading from an older generation platform, or let's say a non-XRD series CPU for sure. Yeah.
It's actually quite interesting because a game like Hogwarts Legacy, you can really see that game goes very well on high frequency. We already saw the huge uplift here with the 7800 X3D.
Right.
So there was even 36% compared to the 7800 X3D.
Yeah.
But also here you see that the 8% uplift is much higher than the average of what you will see.
Yeah, and that's exactly to the story we were talking about before, is that you now get best of both. So you get that whopping 3DV cache and that whopping total cache of 104 megabytes, but some games really love that, and other games really love the frequency. So in this case, you would never have to worry about getting the best performance for your game. A 9800 XRD or a 9850 XRD will always deliver the best performance from a CPU perspective that's available today.
Yeah. Agency 1001 is asking, what's the average temperature of that CPU under load? It depends very much on the cooler you're using, first of all.
Yeah.
But it will max out at a certain temperature, I think.
TJ Max 95.
95.
Yeah.
And that's also a bit higher than in previous generations, right?
Yeah, but it depends because, it's series dependent or architecture dependent, obviously, and this is also one of the things that we had with the introduction of second generation 3DV
with
cache,
also
which
the
I talked
optimization
about. With the optimization, so you can drive that higher, which basically means we unlock more performance, higher frequency, but that also drives a few more volts, for example, right? And I'm not talking about 1.0 volts more than the other one, but 0 point something more than the previous generation. So you're going to have a little bit more power draw.
89 degrees was the TJ Max on that one, I believe.
Yeah, 95 is.
And now 95. So basically there is also a little bit more headroom in terms of temperature.
Yeah.
But of course if you use, so basically it means it will max out at that 95 degrees Celsius. But if you use a better cooler, even though you will see the same 95 degrees as you will see with the lower end, you will get more performance out of it because it will be able to sustain those higher clocks for a longer period of time if you use a better cooler. So it's definitely worth it also to invest in a good cooling solution.
And again, all the sensors and the way that the architecture works and the CPU is built, it will always try to boost as high as possible
basically
to
max
reach
out
that 95C and to max out that performance. That's why I'm saying you're going to get rewarded by installing the best of the best cooling solutions.
And I know some people, especially early AM5 days, got a bit confused by it because they think, hey, I'm buying a newer, much stronger cooler and I still see the exact same number in terms of temperature, not looking at the performance.
It's by design. It is by design.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good question. Thank you.
Good question for sure. Vectom is asking, Martijn, I wonder if this processor passed the extreme impossible test. Vectom, now I'm curious about what the extreme impossible test is.
Yes, it can play Crysis. Is that the test? Yes, or Minecraft for that matter.
Yeah.
I've tried it on the test bench. It works.
Yeah.
Really fast. But no, it will pass any test that you throw at it. Very much so that a non-XRD series product would pass any of those tests. So these are obviously in our 9000 series based on the same architecture. So same Zen 5 architecture, 4 nanometer CPU core, 6 nanometer IO die. And obviously same behavior and same experience that you would expect from any of AMD Ryzen CPUs, whether it's 7000 series, 9000 series, same reliability and stability that we chase after and go for with these parts.
And that's why we also, a topic that we didn't touch yet, because the 7000 series is still on 5 nanometer, and this is on 4 nanometer as well.
Yeah.
And that also, of course, allows you to go usually a little bit higher in terms of frequency. And
efficiency.
And efficiency as well.
The smaller node would usually drive, either give you more headroom for more higher clocks. It depends on how you tune the part eventually, right? When it leaves the wafer and the factory. And so we chose for more performance. It's a design choice. And it's all about choices, right? Very similar to our current stack today. We will continue having Ryzen 7000 series in the market if you're looking for a great price performance solution compared to what you currently have, or if you're building a new system. But if you're looking for the latest and greatest, the Ryzen 9000 series are obviously the go for. But they're all on socket AM5 motherboards, so that's, I would say, the thing that they have in common, and what we would recommend as newly builds to look after.
So you can also mix and match, because this also works on a 600 series motherboard, but also in case you still want to go for a 7800 X3D, but you do want to have features like USB 4, for example, you can of course also go with an 800 series motherboard. So it's just whatever suits your needs best, you can go with.
And PCI Express Gen 5, obviously on SSDs, so fastest SSD possible as well.
There's something extra that you currently have running with this CPU, right? A nice game
absolutely.
bundle. So
yeah, we do. We actually wanted to make this even more attractive for everybody. So we're closely working with the team from Crimson Desert, one of the upcoming open world action adventure titles. Gorgeous looking game, and we're actually going to give that away with a few of our component products as well
like
as some of our laptops. Yeah, it's a game bundle, so it's you can get a free copy of the game. The game is yet to come out. I think they've just announced it to be March 19, top of my head, to come out. But it's a highly anticipated title. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and you can now get that for free if you're choosing to upgrade or build new with select Ryzen series CPUs, Radeon graphics cards, but as well as
so it's not just
laptops.
With this CPU, but also other.
I mean, I've put something together. I think it's later in here. But yeah, go ahead and check out the video and see what you think from Crimson Desert. So
okay, let's have a look. Be right back. There we go.
I mean, doesn't that look cool? Like, I mean, almost looks like a movie. I mean, looking at the dragon, and very, very intense. So I'm very much looking forward to playing that game.
And they can get it for free with
select Ryzen models.
But also the existing 9000 X3s are included. So you see the 9800 X3
even the
as well,
newest 9850. Yeah. So select products. Go ahead and check them out with your favorite retailers or system builders. Obviously, regional availability and terms and conditions apply, but go ahead and check out AMD.com if you want to learn more. But yeah, it's a nice gift with one of these CPUs or graphics cards or even laptops, right? Yeah,
some of our AMD-driven notebooks are indeed also covered by this game bundle, so definitely check that out as well if you're looking for a mobile solution. Then, yeah, looks good.
All right.
Then, before we close it off for today, I quickly want to repeat something, because we have a special giveaway with a huge thanks to Martijn and AMD.
This one.
You have a chance to win this new CPU, the AMD Ryzen 7 9850 X3D. So go to msi.com/2/insider or follow the direct link if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch. That will lead you to Gleam, where you can sign up if you already did, so you're good to go. So you can sign up from now on, and the CPU will be given away in 2 weeks' time. Then is our next live stream on the 4th of March. We will draw the winner for this new CPU. So make sure to do so. And what we'll also do is pick our first winner for a Steam wallet code, because we have our second giveaway.
Aha.
I have my lovely assistant in the background who will do this. Eric will draw our first winner for the Steam wallet code giveaway. So just to avoid any confusion, this is not for the 9850 X3D yet, but we will do a few drawings for Steam wallet codes as well. I hope you guys have a while, because Eric is not very fast.
Can you see that?
No, I cannot see anything.
The winner is nobody.
Oh, the winner is nobody. Congratulations, nobody.
Congratulations to
in
nobody.
In case we have multiple nobodies, if you get a mail with a Steam wallet code, then you were the correct nobody. Congrats with the Steam wallet code. If you haven't signed up for the giveaway yet, make sure to do so, because we will do more Steam wallet code drawings throughout the stream. And if you sign up in the same giveaway, you will also be included in that Ryzen 7 9850 X3D giveaway.
I see a lot of GGs in the chat.
Yeah.
And, good luck and have fun for the stream.
Yeah. Before we say goodbye to Martijn,
we're going to do.
We're going to introduce today's systems, because we will do some
I'll remove this.
live demonstrations later on with Eric as well. So let's start with the system in front of Martijn. Hello, camera. There we go.
Aha.
So what we have here is not an X3D part, actually. We have a 9950X, so that's a Ryzen 9 CPU. Let me quickly show
it on the screen as well, right?
Yeah. 1 second.
Do you want me to hold this?
Yeah, if you hold this, I will switch it.
I can also do this, and you can see it.
No, that also works.
Yeah, here's the proof.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
9950X, and we put it on the MAG X870 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard. There is 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM on there, and it is, I believe, 6400 or 7200 kit, but currently it's set to DDR5 6000 CL30. And then on this side, I will take it over, is our second system. By the way, the graphics card is an RTX 5080. We also have a 5080 on this one. The reason is because we needed two of basically the same graphic cards, at least with the same GPU. This is the new 9850X3D with a nice P13 liquid cooler on there. You see, I didn't connect the screen, but there is a screen in here. I was too lazy to connect it though. It is on our B850 M-Power motherboard, and I know a lot of people in our chat were very curious about this one, so I will give you a good look of this new M-Power motherboard.
Beautiful.
Yeah, for people who are familiar with older MSI hardware, we used to have M-Power models in the past as well, and you see that signature yellow on there as well. So it is a micro ATX motherboard based on the B850 chipset, and what's quite unique about this compared to our other higher end B850 boards is that this is a 2-DIMM board. That is not a cost down measure. This is specifically to get better memory performance. So you have 1 DIMM per channel, and that gives you the best possible memory performance compared to 4 DIMM. Right now there is a G-Skill kit in there, so it's Trident Z5. And this is DDR5 6000 CL30. Yeah.
And so potentially higher memory overclocking as well, right? With the two.
Yeah, with the 2DIMM as well. Yeah. So that is today's system.
What AIO is the question?
Oh, yeah, Eric has a good point. Let me quickly show you.
You have the specs.
The easy dashboard. There we go. So it comes with a separate PCB if you want to do extreme overclocking. You can already do a couple of things here. There are some readout points, but you can also switch it on, reset. You have the, there we go. We have the debugging LED there. You have a clear CMOS button on there. And then quick overview of the specs on the screen. So the 9850X3D on the B850 M-Power and running an RTX 5080 graphics card. So that is the second system.
Is the M-Power on sale yet, Michiel?
In certain regions, yes,
okay.
But it's not available worldwide. So that is unfortunately something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, in certain regions it is already available.
Yeah, it was a question from Old Man Uru. I thought I'd step in here.
Yeah, EU, I think also only certain countries, I believe. Liquid cooler, yeah, this has the P13 on here, and this is an older C240. Okay, then I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank
you
for
gave
having
a great introduction of this new CPU.
Thank you.
And then I will invite Eric over to start putting this to the test, and we will do a lot of different memory configurations with both the AMD Ryzen 9 9950 and the AMD Ryzen 7 9850X3D.
Yeah.
Let me see some more questions specifically for you. See some motherboard questions.
I think they're all eager to see Eric on the screen and then start testing again. So thank you guys for having me, and yeah, be sure to hang around and see what the performance difference is, because it's quite interesting what we found so far. So I'm sure you're going to see some very, very interesting results as well.
Let's
on the
see what X3D can bring.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Martijn,
So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye everyone.
Okay, they will do a quick switch. Yeah, there we go. Eric will take over the microphone, and then we will do some practice testing with this configuration. So I have already shown you the memory on these two test benches, but I've got two more memory modules that we will also use later on in this stream. And look at this. These were basically the most entry-level DDR5 modules we could find. So as you can see, it's a green PCB. They are actually a relatively large module. So this is 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, but it's DDR5 4800 CL40 memory. And basically,
I look really white.
Yeah, you need some sunbathing.
Yeah, I'm sick. we didn't tune that camera.
There we go.
Hi everybody.
I'm also quite white. So Eric, welcome.
Yeah, so I'm going to help you with benchmarking because we don't trust AMD, we don't trust Martijn.
We're also going to compare some besides AMD. So
Yeah.
we will also talk about Intel because Ruud did a lot of testing for us, including.
He did.
Yeah, he did with the Core Ultra 285K. So we can compare different platforms. So we're able to compare.
So these two are for my setup?
No, one is for a lucky winner.
Oh, and the other one's for me.
The other one is Martijn's.
I don't have the money to buy DDR5.
So if these modules are all of a sudden missing, then I know where they are.
Maybe put them over there.
Yeah. There we go. Wait, the cooler is blowing too hard and it's falling over. There we go. So yeah, we will basically do a memory comparison with a lot of different configurations, and we will compare AMD X3D, AMD non-X3D, so that's the system in front of you,
Yeah.
as well as Intel on their latest generation, so the Core Ultra series. And we will do some live benchmarking with games.
You can already switch to the capture, so you can see. We don't have a split view, right?
No, we don't have a split
Yeah,
view because
no
too
need.
much was missing in that split view. So this is your system.
Yeah,
the
and
one we just went
top
over.
corner, you see which CPU this is
Yeah.
at.
So also later on during benchmarking, if we're switching in between them, in the top right you can see on which one we are at that specific point in time. So this is the system in front of Eric, 9950X, and this is the system in front of me, the 9850X. Before we go into gaming performance, later on we will do some live testing in the game Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, the problem is there are too many games. You know, each game has a different kind of game engine, so the result differs a bit. But RFE, Ruud, he did some benchmarking, and you see we have like 5 games benchmarked.
Yeah.
You see that across the board, the averages are not that far apart. But today we will only, because I already see some requests in the chat, can we do Fortnite, can we do Overwatch, Halo, etc. That would take too much time. So today we're only going to do
Marvel Rivals,
yes.
we're going to do live, and then
Quite
we
a
have
popular game.
Yeah, and we have some additional testing data from Ruud with other games as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Something to keep in mind, because Ruud has already been working on this for weeks. So we didn't have the 9850 yet, so for our test results it's still with the 9800 X3D. But the main goal here is to show you the difference between an X3D CPU and a non-X3D CPU, to see what you can expect in terms of different memory configurations, and then I mean higher frequencies, lower frequencies,
Quite
higher
surprising.
timings, lower timings,
Yeah.
single channel, dual channel, bigger memory modules, smaller
And
memory
you
modules.
know, this is now very important because of the memory pricing.
prices,
Went to the roof. We're talking about at least 4 times higher, and maybe even increasing.
Half a year ago, it was a no-brainer. You could go for a dual channel memory kit, 32 gigabytes, perfect for gaming, and it was like 120 euros or dollars.
People are afraid I'm going to spill my drink.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, so I'm going to put it further away.
Knowing you, that's a good point. So yeah, I think it is now a very interesting topic, because in the past we would just recommend, hey, go with DDR5, especially in my AMD system, 6000, like CL30 or even CL28, because it was not too expensive at that point. Nowadays that's different, because also with
we can still make the recommendations, only it's very expensive. So,
but also the recommendations become different, because where the price difference between a high-end memory kit and a lower-end memory kit used to be maybe 20 euros or dollars, it can now sometimes, for the same 2 kits, can be 4 times as much. And if it's like 80 euros or dollars, that's also approximately the difference between an X3D CPU or a non-X3D CPU.
Absolutely.
So for the same money, do you then go for an X3D with cheaper memory, or do you go for the non-X3D with more expensive memory?
Or there's even another option. Do you buy a dual channel kit with a friend, and you take single channel, he or she takes single channel, and later you buy the same memory kit, and you know, when it's affordable,
And also, if you cannot buy the exact same memory kit anymore, you can just move that other module to one system and the 2 new modules to another system. So you still have the same memory modules for the best compatibility as well.
On YouTube, Liveside is asking, when are we going to release the Max motherboards? They are already released, step by step.
Some are already available, not all of them yet.
Not all of them, and of course this differs per market as well.
Yeah.
But which one do you know? Which one's already available?
Tomahawk should already be available. Ace should already be available. So yeah, it depends a bit on the exact model, but best to check with your local reseller because they will also give you a better idea of when they expect certain boards, because like Eric mentioned, this can differ a lot per region. So yeah, best to check in your specific
Why
market.
did you choose RTX 5080, by the way?
Because we needed 2.
Yes.
And we only had one 5090 on hand.
Yeah.
So Ruud actually did his testing with a 5090. Which you will see in the later comparisons. But now, because we wanted to have 2 systems in place, we picked 2 5080s so we could make more similar systems.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into it.
Yep. Before we go into the gaming benchmarks, I want to dive a little bit into the theory about memory bandwidth, but also memory latency, often very underestimated when it's about performance. Here you see an overview of Ruud's testing in the AIDA64 memory bandwidth benchmark. So this is basically copying using your memory. In red on top you see the 9800 X3D, so not the 9850 yet, but of course they will be relatively close to each other, 9850 being slightly faster, being higher clocked. But this is more to give you an idea, hey, when will X3D make a big difference here?
This is a benchmark you see a lot in media testing.
Yeah.
And we need to point out it's a benchmark. You know, it gives you nice numbers, but
this is raw bandwidth.
Yes.
It's not really a practical scenario.
No, because later we'll look at gaming and you see some different numbers.
Yeah. Vectom is a good question in Twitch chat. I'm looking at the RAM, 32 gigabyte, but 3000 megahertz shouldn't have more. DDR stands for double data rate, so you have to multiply the number you see over there by 2. So let me quickly go back to my capture.
Maybe he has 1500.
Yeah.
We don't know.
So here you see 3000, but effectively this runs at DDR5 6000 because the DDR, the double data rate. So multiply this by 2 and you have the correct number. And that, by the way, this is not specifically something for DDR5. It's the same for DDR4. If you have DDR4 3200, let's say, then you will see 1600 over here.
Can we scale to 150?
Yeah, you should be able to. Let me also scale mine so it may be a little bit easier to read, especially if you're watching on mobile. There we go. So we're talking about this number here. And so this is basically DDR5 6000, double data rate, so times 2, and it's at CL30. Back to the memory bandwidth. So like Eric already explained, this is just basically the raw throughput of the memory. This doesn't necessarily say anything about gaming performance, for example. And here you also see that on AMD side, Eric is running the 9950. That is a dual CCD CPU. There you also see that you usually get some better performance on the memory bandwidth. On Intel, you also see extremely high memory bandwidth. And you also see that basically the higher the clock speed, the higher the memory bandwidth. But, and that is a big but, especially when it concerns gaming, which is usually quite sensitive to latency. And AIDA64 also has a memory latency benchmark. The number you see here is the latency in nanoseconds. And here you see that all of a sudden it's not necessarily the highest frequency that will give you the lowest latency. Because
this, most of the times if you buy memory, you can recognize this as CL.
Also not specifically, because this is the actual memory latency.
True.
So it's a combination.
It's an indication.
It's a combination. It's a combination of the frequency with the actual latencies.
Yeah.
So in case you have higher frequency and lower cache latency, then you will see a very low memory latency.
But again, this is just a benchmark number.
Yeah, and there is another but. Because, for example,
you have a lot of buts today.
A lot of buts today. I like big buts.
Yeah.
if you, for example, talk about AMD CPUs, you also have Infinity Fabric. And Infinity Fabric, if you have a 1-to-1 ratio between the Infinity Fabric and your memory frequency, that will also give you the best latency. You can run higher memory frequencies on AMD as well, but then you will lose that 1-to-1 ratio, so you will have a divider there. And that will give you a latency penalty. And that is, for example, also why you see that the DDR5 6000 will give you the best memory latency on the AMD platform. So you see that with both the 9800 X3D in this example, but also with the 9850 X3D, but also on the non-X3D parts. So the 9950 X3D, you also see that with that DDR5 6000, you will see the lowest memory latency. And this is quite a big factor in gaming as well. So don't specifically look at that memory bandwidth, because that doesn't necessarily make that much of a difference actually for gaming. Latency is usually a bigger factor. Let's have a look at some synthetic benchmarks. So for example, this is compressing a folder. I believe Ruud uses the Cinebench folder for this to compress it.
The 7-zip.
Yeah, in 7-zip indeed. And here, lower is better because it's basically how many seconds does it take to compress this folder.
So this is not the number of MIPS, which some media is using in the benchmark.
Yeah,
this is really how fast is the
how many
unzipping.
seconds does it take to compress this?
Indeed. Oh, compressing. So zipping. It's not really zipping, right? It's 7-zipping.
Yes, zipping is also compressing.
Indeed.
And what you see here already a little bit, which is quite interesting, because later you will see this more with the gaming result. But you already see that with the 9800 X3D, the difference between higher frequency RAM and lower frequency RAM is extremely limited.
It's quite small. Can you go from top to the bottom at the X3D CPU in the red?
So on top is the 9800 X3D with DDR5 7200. And that will take 101 seconds to complete. Then the same CPU with DDR5 6000 will also take 101 seconds.
And 6000 is basically the most optimal memory kit.
That was basically the go-to option. Yeah, correct. Then if you again take the same CPU, so the 9800 X3D with DDR5 4800, so still dual channel, still 2 modules, you're at 102 seconds.
So, like 3 months ago, if you told me you should go for 4800, I would say, I'm going for 6000, But now you see, with the X3D CPU, almost no difference.
Correct. But when you, that's with the X3D.
In 7-zip.
In 7-zip, in 7-zip compressing that file. But when you then, for example, take a look at the Intel platform, so the 285K, there you see that from 7200, which takes 107 seconds, to 4800, it takes 117 seconds. So there you do see a much bigger difference.
So the cheaper memory is?
Slower.
Okay.
It will take longer to complete the same task. With the 9950X, you also see a little bit of a hit. Not as big here, but going from 7200, but also 6000, you will see 96 seconds to complete. To 4800, then it will take 99 seconds. So you see a bit of a performance hit as well, which is almost neglectable on the X3D CPU. Then Ruud also tested single channel. So on the 9800 X3D, DDR5 6000 single channel is it takes 102 seconds to complete. So almost identical as well, within margin of error.
And in the past, this was, we always said it's like a 3 to 5% performance hit. Single versus dual.
It very much depends on the CPU, which you will see later on here as well. But yeah, for X3D it can be lower, and for other CPUs it can be higher or even much higher.
But now it's quite small, the difference.
Yeah, here it's on the X3D it's very small. Because when we now take a look at the single channel 4800, that's the first one where you see a slight performance hit with the X3D, but it's still quite small because we go from 102 to 105 seconds. So there is a performance hit, but it's not very big on the X3D.
You will not notice it.
Yeah, then if we take a look at the non-X3D, and it's the case on both Intel with the 285K and AMD with the 9900X, if you go to single channel 4800, you will see quite a bit of an increase. Much more than the 3% you were talking about, whereas it is even less than 3% on the X3D.
Yeah.
But this is just productivity, compressing. Let's take a look at some more productivity. Transcoding. So in this case, we're using handbrake, and this is AV1 transcoding. So what we're basically doing here is transcode using the AV1 codec from Ultra HD resolution, so 2160p
4K.
to 1080p. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4K in 2.864 to AV1 in 1080p.
1080p. Yeah.
So it's both resizing and transcoding.
Yeah. So basically, you make the file size a lot smaller while doing this. What you see here, this is in FPS. So here, more is better. You already see that both the Intel Ultra 9 285K and the 9950X score a lot higher, and that's simply because they have a lot more cores available than the Ryzen 7. The Ryzen 7 is only an 8-core. However, that 8-core CPU, when you use it with single-channel DDR5 4800, still performs almost identical. Whereas if you take a look at, for example, the system you have, the 9950X here, if you run that with single-channel 4800, you're at 80. So you almost fall down to the performance of an 8-core X3D part.
Yeah.
Whereas if you run it with high frequency, so 7200 for example, you see 101 FPS. So there all of a sudden it's a big difference.
So actually, it's when you now buy a CPU and memory, you really need to also pay attention. What do you want to do with it? Because
yes.
For productivity, the answer, because we see a lot of questions in the chat, what memory to buy, what do you suggest? It depends. Well, you know, there are a lot of different opinions here, but it really depends on your use case. If you want to, don't spend too much money on memory.
You say it's about the use case, but I would argue it's more about what CPU you use than your use case. And that we will see later on with the gaming results. So let's start benchmarking with it.
Okay.
And the game we're going to benchmark with is the game Marvel Rivals. So that's pre-installed on both of our systems here. For our benchmarks...
Can I play it, or are we only going to
you can click this away. You can open Marvel Rivals already. For this comparison, don't specifically look at how they compare to each other. So don't necessarily compare the FPS of this system to that system. The system in front of me with a 9850 X3D will be a bit...
Anti-cheat starting. That's good.
Oh, that's very good if you're behind that system. My system will be a bit faster using that 9850 X3D. Is a very fast gaming CPU, and it will perform a bit better in games than the 9950X. What is more interesting to look at, however, is the difference you will see when we change our memory configuration. So basically, what we will do is...
you can go to the capture already.
Yeah, but I will go to yours first. There we go.
It's still warning me.
About the anti-cheat.
No, about flashes, sudden flashes.
Let me see. Oh, launch. What you should look at with these benchmarks, or what's more interesting to look at, is how much of a performance hit you will see when we change our memory configuration. So what we will do is we will start with basically the higher end memory configuration. So at the moment, we're both running DDR5 6000 CL30. We will start benchmarking both of our systems now, and that's basically our baseline. And then we will slowly start downgrading our systems in terms of memory configuration.
Only yours, right?
No, yours as well.
Oh my God.
Because we're going to see how much of...
So I can change the memory here?
You don't necessarily have to touch it. I will do that for you. But what we're then going to compare is how much of a performance hit will you get when we downgrade our memory. So we start with DDR5 6000 CL30. Then we will give both of our systems a BIOS reset. Then it will load JADEC speeds, and that's DDR5 4800 CL40. We will still run that in dual channel. Then we will switch out the memory for this cheaper kit. And this is a single stick of DDR5 4800 CL40, so that will be the same as when we reset this kit. But this one is a single module of 32 gigabytes. So we will run it in single channel. And then last of all, we will use a single module of the memory kit that we're using now. So we're downgrading the capacity as well from 32 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes, and to see how much of a difference that will make.
I'm curious.
Basically, we will have 4 different memory configurations.
Okay, so I'm going to leave the settings like this. So we're benchmarking 1080p.
Shreddy says Eric is not allowed to touch a memory. Indeed, from experience.
It's too expensive.
Yeah, at the moment it is, yeah.
So we're going to benchmark 1080p and everything low resolution?
Yeah.
So it's purely a CPU benchmark?
Yeah, we can of course put it higher, but then we're benchmarking the GPU rather than the CPU. In this game, actually, when you put things higher, you can make it GPU bound.
Where did they hide the benchmark?
It's in the settings menu. So if you go to your settings menu.
Oh, the run. Yeah. Performance test.
Okay, let me quickly double check if everything is correct. So
this is the capture card?
Yeah, that's the capture card indeed. 920 1080, that's correct. And then the preset should be at low, so we make it more CPU bound. Yeah, that's also correct.
Show FPS?
No, we'll see that at the end because it's too small in the preview.
Yeah.
Then let's have a look at my system. So this is my system with a 9850X. I'm running the same. This is, by the way, the capture card again. I'm also running 920 1080. I also have anti-aliasing off, and I'm running the low preset. Okay, let's run it. Start test. You can also start it.
Are we doing a countdown?
Yeah, we can, but we will not show them side by side. But 3, 2, 1, click.
You were slower. So if I was like
because you cheated again.
If I was aiming at you, you would like, oh.
No, because you would miss. Okay, so now we're running the benchmark. You're currently looking at my screen. You see it's running currently around 300 FPS, a little bit lower in this scene. This is Eric's benchmark. That FPS is a little bit lower. He's running a non-X3D CPU, and that makes a bit of a difference in this game. So now this is basically the baseline DDR5 6000 dual channel CL30.
Do we need pen and paper to write down numbers?
Yeah, you can write it down on your phone.
Oh, notepads?
Oh, you actually took your notebook. That is a very good way of... you can open Notepad, so we don't forget everything. In fact, Tom was asking, Mike, what do you hold in your hand? At the moment, it's
normally
it's
beer,
like gold.
now memory.
Yeah. Usually I think beer is an expensive hobby, but now memory is worth. So Eric will later on write down the average frame rate. And Eric, I also want you to write down the 1% lows.
Okay.
So we can also compare that a little bit, because we talked about this before with Martijn as well. Average frame rate can be really interesting, but the 1% lows are usually where, if you're playing a game, you will experience those micro stutters. So even if the average frame rate is almost the same, but the 1% lows are much lower, then it can feel a lot less smooth.
Hey, mine is finished.
Mine is also finished.
Okay. It says very smooth.
Yeah. Now let's switch to mine. It says extremely smooth.
That's the X3D.
I think it just shaved.
That's not you.
No, it must be my influence. Because
okay, so how do I list this?
Let's start with your system. So you've got 227 frames per second on average.
And how do I call this run? This is a dual channel.
Dual channel DDR5 6000 CL30. So 227 average FPS.
And then the lows?
The 1% lows are 164 FPS.
Okay.
Then we have my system.
Same dual channel DDR5 6000?
Yeah, same configuration, also CL30.
CL30.
And I have 261 frames per second on average.
Okay.
And 220 frames per second, 1% lows.
Okay.
So that's basically the drops you have. That's as low as it goes within 1%.
So actually your FPS is only like 40 higher, but your lows are the gap is much smaller.
Smaller, bigger.
Oh, bigger,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're doing fine.
Yeah, and that's also something we see more often with X3D CPUs. The 1% low performance tends to be a bit better than.
It's all in the cache.
Yeah, cache does make a difference there. Yeah. By the way, if you're confused about the 60 Hertz, that's we're using a capture card, and we're also broadcasting it at 60 FPS. Of course, the systems are rendering way more FPS. It will just not display it in the capture. Then let's close the game, and we're gonna.
Alt F4 or do I get problems?
You can, yeah, it also works. Whatever you prefer.
Normally I unplug the power.
Okay, maybe don't do that. Then you can
shut down.
Shut down, and you can load the optimized BIOS defaults. Yeah, let me switch there so they see us full screen. You can do a clear CMOS. And you have a button on your I/O to do that.
Which one? The bottom one?
You can see it on the writing, right? It should be, but for me it's the top one. Should be for you as well.
It's so small.
Are you not wearing your lens?
Do I need? Now it's enough, right?
Yeah, if you pressed it, then you can boot it again.
Where is my boot button?
Oh, your boot button actually, for me, it's there.
I think it's here somewhere. Can you push it?
Yeah, there you go.
Do we need to go to the BIOS?
No, we can check if it succeeded in HW info.
Yeah.
So there, we will always open that first so we can see what we're running. And then we will start Marvel Rivals again.
Maybe I already destroyed it.
T209 is saying that added L3 cache makes up for RAM speed variation. Yeah, it definitely does. They also say the 9800 X3D gains over the 7800 X3D was almost entirely 1% low gains. Yeah, it's a very good CPU. And I think the 7800 X3D was already pretty good in 1% lows, but even more so than 98.
How to enter to win the computer? There is no computer, there is only a CPU.
Yeah.
But I think that's already a great price. And we have some wallet codes, Steam voucher wallet codes. So if you go to your YouTube, each 5 minutes our bot will post a Gleam link.
Yeah.
Or you can go to msi.com/2/insider. Actually, I checked and it wasn't working.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Did you break it?
Yeah. Anyway, if you're on Instagram or TikTok or something, please go to YouTube because over there the link is in the chat. I can also later try to put it in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back in Windows.
I'm almost back in Windows.
Yeah. So I'm going to start, which one? This one? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me go to your capture already. Yeah, so in the middle, you see the memory configuration. So we're still running 32 gigabytes. It's still 2 DIMMs of 16, so still dual channel. But now we're running DDR5 4800 CL40.
So this is 24 times 2.
Times 2 because of the double data rate.
Yeah.
I will also switch to my capture now. Let me boot up HW info. In my system, you see the same. So I'm also running 32 gigabytes, also 4800 CL40. Yeah, then we can close this again, and we can start Marvel Rivals.
So you're cheating, because when I was running Rivals, this was still in the background.
Yeah, you can also keep it open. You run a Ryzen 9.
That's why I missed some FPS.
Yeah, you really think on your 16 core that's going to make any difference? The only downside of Marvel Rivals is that you have to go through a lot of skip, escape, click to get
Probably
to the
if you pay, then it's...
No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
We'll still show you what you bought?
Yeah, it's still... There's like the video you need to skip. Then.
Yeah. Well, they spend a lot of time on it, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's logical their name appears on the screen. And this is like an
I
iconic
like creativity, please help, says, why don't you OC through Expo? We did in the beginning. So we were running the Expo profile DDR5 6000 CL30. Now we purposely disable the Expo profile to show you what you would get if you would run a cheaper DDR5 kit. So
actually, a lot of people who run, I mean, they have the capable memory running Expo, but they don't use it because you need to enable it in the BIOS.
Yeah.
And I think recently there was like a lawsuit, right? In the US, there was a lawsuit of people who like bought memory rated for 6000 with XMP or Expo or something like that. But yeah, they were in a class action lawsuit. They were arguing that you needed to enable Expo or enable XMP.
And that it's technically overclocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, did they win or lose? No, it was settled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was settled.
Now we can go to
The settings again?
settings again. Settings all the same, so no changes. So
For me as well.
Yep.
1080p, everything
Yep.
off, low. Yep.
Then you can click run
Run.
and start test.
3, 2. Oh, cheater! Always.
Okay, now it's capturing your system. But it's showing basically exactly the same on mine.
Yeah.
And in the end, we're gonna see how much of a performance hit we get in average frame rate as well as the 1% lows. Gaber is asking, what motherboard are you guys running? So Eric is running the MAG X870 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard, and I'm running the B850 M-Power. But in terms of gaming performance, that shouldn't really make a difference.
No. Mainboards are more about the feature, connectivity, etc.
Yeah. But also overclocking. So for example, this is a 2-DIMM board. If you want to do memory overclocking, then this can make a difference. But now we're syncing our memory speeds anyway. So.
Yeah, finished. Oh.
Christopher is asking, demonstrating the power of MSI's processor and GPU company. Well, we're mostly demonstrating of how different CPUs respond to different memory configurations. And that has to do with the higher DDR5 prices. So basically, what combinations are viable and when do you get a big performance hit? That's what we're trying to show you today.
Minecraft with higher graphics and full render. Does Minecraft have an inbuilt benchmark? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It does have a ray tracing option nowadays. But then you're more benchmarking your GPU rather than the CPU.
Okay, finished.
We're done again.
I'm still very smooth.
I'm still extremely smooth.
Okay.
So let's start with yours.
Yep.
So back to your notes.
Okay, so this is a dual channel, 4800 DDR5 CL, still 30. I mean.
No, 40. Because this is JEDEC speed, no longer Expo speed.
This is 153 FPS and the 1%. Oh, sorry,
no,
208.
Your average is 208.
208. Normally I make these mistakes when I write down your numbers. And we're 153 FPS, 1% lows.
Okay, so what was your previous score?
227 FPS and now 208.
Okay, that's the average. And your 1% lows?
164 versus 153.
Okay, so you got a bit of a performance hit.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're gonna head over to my system with the X3D CPU.
Which is dual channel.
Dual channel, DDR5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna write that down. I mean,
4800.
DDR4 doesn't fit in this motherboard.
With a hammer, everything fits.
Yeah.
It won't work.
4800, CL40.
Yeah, and my average FPS is 261.
No difference?
No. That's the exact same, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
and
the same.
My 1% lows, there I think is a bit of difference, 210.
Yeah. 210, that used to be 220.
Yeah. So on average, I didn't get the performance hit, and I got a slight hit in my 1% lows.
Yeah.
But yeah, your performance hit was a bit more significant also in your average FPS. Okay. Well, you can switch this off again. And then we're gonna swap some memory.
Not first go to single memory? Of single
No,
channel?
first we're gonna stick to the same capacity. So we're gonna stick to 32 gigabytes. And then we will need a bigger module, of course, because we're gonna run it in single channel.
Okay.
So you get one.
Ooh.
And I got one.
How much is this?
32 gig.
Should I run away and buy a car?
No. Now you can take out your memory modules.
Ooh, that's two. I better keep them. Okay, where to put this? I mean, normally in MSI it's like A, B.
Go to the, you always skip the first slot.
Yeah.
Then you fill the second, and usually you would also fill the fourth, but now you stick it in the second one. And I will stick it in the first one because I have a 1 DIMM per channel configuration.
Now, please double check. It's correct, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised, but it's correct. Okay, now you can boot up your system.
Can you switch it on?
Yeah.
Easier for you. So, this is going to be single channel. What clock speed are we going to run?
Still 4800.
Okay. 4800 CL.
Still CL40.
CL40.
Yeah. So the only difference that we have now is we're moving from dual channel 32
single,
gigabytes to single channel. So no capacity change, but only single channel now.
Beantown review is saying yes, run away. Buy me a car.
Let me see. More than those RAM.
We both get a message. The capture doesn't show this.
No, it doesn't, because it just shows on the screen. But basically, devices changed, CPU or memory, or CMOS has been cleared. That's correct. We changed our memory. So basically, you can press F2, Eric.
F2, load defaults.
Load default values and
continue.
continue. Because that way, it also keeps running that JDEC speed of DDR5 4800 CL40. But later on, we'll open HW info again, so we'll double check before we run the benchmark.
Space on Access saying, MSI, can I please have a gaming setup? I'm kind of broke. I think with the current DDR5 price, everybody's broke. It feels like everybody's broke.
If they purchase DDR5,
yeah.
then yes.
Back in Windows.
Okay. I'm going to open HW info again.
Yeah, same here.
So here's the change now. We're still on 32 gigabytes. We're still running DDR5 4800, double data rate, so this times 2. But here's the difference now. We're now running single channel and still cache latency 40.
Yeah,
then we also go to Eric's system.
Same for me, 32 gig, 4800, single channel. That's the difference. So
and, let's start my rivals again.
Should we do a giveaway?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Giveaway.
You've got everything open? And
Well, first I'm going to launch this.
now we'll quickly switch to this. So in case you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider if it works, and otherwise follow the direct link that our bot puts in the Twitch and YouTube chat every 5 minutes. And we're giving away several Steam wallet codes today, but if you sign up for this giveaway, you also have a chance to win that new AMD Ryzen 7 9850 X3D CPU.
Without memory.
Without memory.
Without memory.
Well, it has some cache memory on there, quite a bit. And that drawing will be on the 4th of March in our next live stream, but you can already sign up for it today, so make sure to do so.
So, nobody already won today. Quite a funny name.
Yeah. I was confused by what you said. Nobody we already had one, but yeah.
Nobody was a first winner. So the second winner is Bartonnen. Bartonnen, congrats.
Congratulations, you also won a Steam wallet code. B. Kelly is asking, B. Kelly01 is asking, is that Kingston memory? The one Eric has in front of him, yes.
This one?
Yeah, but let me quickly show you. This is Kingston memory, so that's what Eric was running before when we were running the dual channel configuration.
You had
Yeah, I was running G.Skill. So both of these are high frequency dual channel kits. And now we're running a single memory module. I think it's SK Hynix. Yeah.
you probably ripped it out of an OEM system.
I did. How did you guess?
It was very difficult to find old DDR5 4800 memory.
Yeah, because...
And then I saw you checking all old systems
old
we
systems,
still had.
yeah. Because the more modern kits tend to be higher frequency.
Yeah.
But yeah, I needed to find a lower frequency one. Of course, you can always set it, but I did need a 32 gigabyte.
Okay, so I'm back.
I still need to click through a few things. Let me already go to yours.
Yeah.
There we go.
So full screen, 1080p, same settings, nothing changed. Only now is single channel memory.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, cheater! I was like watching you. I was like, maybe I click already, and they 3, 2, 1.
Gotcha. Gizmo Civic is asking, why not use an Intel chip versus the AMD chip? Basically, to really show the difference between X3D and non-X3D, because these CPUs actually run the exact same architecture. The only difference is the 3D. Yeah, of course, this one has more cores, but it's still the same architecture.
Same memory controller as
yeah,
well.
Intel has a whole different architecture.
But later, when we show the, we have
we do have a comparison also with Intel.
Yeah. And that's not going to be pretty.
Also not for your CPU.
Oh.
But that's a bit of a spoiler alert. But yeah, we also see it in these benchmarks already a little bit.
What? Mm-hmm. That's I'm peeking at your screen. That's a big difference.
Yeah, because
That's
we're downgrading our memory every time. We already lowered the frequency, higher the cache latency, and now we're also moving from single to dual channel.
No, I mean...
or from dual to single channel, sorry, the other way around.
It's like running on integrated graphics, this one.
No, you're still running a 5080. No integrated graphics being used at the moment.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm curious what your average is. Whoa.
Yours is still very smooth.
Yeah, okay. So we're still very smooth over here.
Okay, let's go back to your notes.
Yeah.
So our current configuration, 4800.
Single channel, CL40.
CL40, single channel.
178 FPS with...
average.
Average, indeed. With 128 FPS, 1% lows.
Okay. And then let's head over to my system. Hey, Eric. I'm still at extremely smooth. My average FPS, 257.
That's, you only lost 4 frames.
I only lost 4 frames.
257.
Going to single channel.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And my 1% lows are 186.
I'm close to 100. Okay, so in my system, from dual channel 6000 was 227 FPS. Dual channel 4800, which is quite a lot cheaper, was 208 frames. I mean, not that, yeah, it's a big impact, but not that big. And then to single channel, it's 178. So of 208 to 178. Or if you look at the top speed, so 6227 to 178 frames. And this is all 1080p. So basically, if you go to 4K, you need to divide it by 4.
No, if you go to 4K, then the differences will get smaller because you will make it GPU limited.
True, yeah. Okay, and yours, my God, you only lost, I mean, from dual channel 6000, that's 261 FPS, to single channel 4800, it's 257, that's only 4 frames.
4 frames, but my 1% lows got a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, so first was 220, then 210, now 186. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of
for
difficult.
me.
That's difficult.
We will keep on reading it up.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe I can show it with the mobile cam.
yeah, we can show the overview.
But I need to watch out.
Don't dox any people.
Yeah,
with.
I don't care about any people. I care about myself. Okay.
Nobody was a winner.
Then let's downgrade a bit further.
What can we do? Break it in half?
Use a single. Hey, hello camera. We're back. Use a single memory module, so single channel, but then only 16 gigabytes instead of 32. So we're gonna swap it out again because these are smaller memory modules. So you can shut down your system.
Shut down. I think this one. I feel it's faster.
You can also take your own memory module. We're gonna run them at JDEC speeds anyway.
But yeah, no.
Doesn't make a difference.
Maybe you take my memory.
Well, that's okay as well. It doesn't.
No, let's split the part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Split the kit.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be 100% honest, right?
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
I have it. You see,
The monitor refresh rate is at 60.
that's the capture card.
Yeah, that's the capture card. And we're streaming at 60, so you will not see, I mean, all the channels, YouTube and
It
Twitch
will
are
render way
maximum
more
at 60.
frames.
Yeah, but we're rendering more frames.
Yeah.
That's what you see in the benchmark data.
So also, if you're doing these kind of benchmarks, you can use a very old monitor with 60 Hz. It doesn't really make a difference.
Impact, no.
Because your GPU is still running way more FPS. Of course, it's got to be a different story if you switch on VSync, because then it will switch. It kind of syncs your FPS to that 60 Hz of your monitor. So make sure to have VSync off, and then it doesn't.
Which CPU did I have, Mike?
You have the 9950X.
9950X, and you have
9850X3D.
9850 X3D.
Shiv Mahadev is
F2.
asking,
Oh, you're
hey,
already
what about
there.
MEG Maestro 900 case? When will it launch? We're currently planning it in the second quarter of this year for launch. I again get the notification that it detected that I changed my memory. So again, I'm going with the default settings. So DDR5 4800 CL40. Okay. Let me already switch to yours. So maybe you can open up HW info.
Sorry.
So we can double check everything. We can check if you're not cheating. If you didn't secretly switch on Expo.
No, I didn't. So this is not 32 gig, but 16 gig, 4800 single channel, CL40.
Correct. And I'm also gonna boot up HW info.
So I'm going to add this in. So this is 32 gig.
I'm running the other memory stick from the same memory kit. So the other 16 gigabytes, also DDR5 4800, single channel, CL40. Okay, then let's start Marvel Rivals again. B Kelly 01 says, so basically you can run single channel memory configurations for little performance loss with X3D. Yes,
That's the
case.
conclusion of today.
Yeah. And especially on average, we see barely any difference. 1% lows, you get a slight performance hit. But on a non-X3D, you will see a bigger performance hit, also 1% lows, but also a big performance hit on the average frame rate.
Oh, sorry.
3 at T209 says, especially at higher frequencies, almost no difference. No, with X3D, it's minor. Later on, we will also show you some more of Ruud's benchmark results. So we have multiple games that he tested. We also have the comparison with the Intel Core Ultra 9 285K.
Right, so this is correct, right? 32, 32, 32, 60 now.
Yeah, this is correct. Yeah. Cheyenne Royce is asking, then what is the point of dual channel memory in a modern PC?
Oh.
Modern is difficult because a 285K is a modern CPU. A 9950X is still a modern CPU, and they do get a performance hit of that single channel memory.
Settings.
It's specifically the X3D that barely sees a performance hit.
Yes.
And
later, when we show you the results versus Intel, you will see that.
So basically, the X3D CPUs, because of that bigger 3D cache, is just less sensitive to whatever you throw at it in terms of memory, because it makes up for a lot of it with that bigger cache in the CPU. Okay, we're going to settings again. Everything's still the same.
Yeah, for me the same.
Now you can do the countdown.
1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. 3,
minus, yeah.
2, 1. You click.
You're already in the benchmark. Oh. Okay, so the last run, single channel, 16 gigs only.
I'm looking at my numbers. It's difficult to say what the average will be, right? Ooh, that was not good.
Yeah. But I can already tell that your average will be a lot lower than mine.
Wow, 300.
Yeah, so in the first benchmark we ran, the gaps were not that big yet, but it is increasing with every single downgrade.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm average at 172.
I don't think you will get that much of a performance hit now moving from 32 to 16 gigabytes, because I don't think this game is as
not this game, and that's
hungry.
you know that's the problem. This
Be
differs per
different.
game.
Yeah. I know that certain games, especially if you have a lot of like very big worlds where a lot of
Open worlds, yeah.
open world stuff, there it may take a difference.
I'm quite happy with this number. Unless it...
And that's also interesting information, because that means that in a lot of games, you can still run 16 gigs of RAM quite okay, and don't lose a lot of performance.
Okay, so this is 16 gigabyte single channel 4800 CL40.
You still get the rating very smooth.
Yeah, and it's 174 FPS, so that's a 4 FPS drop from 32 gig. Doable.
4 FPS.
Yeah, that saves a lot of money. And then the 1% lows are 121 FPS, FPS 1% lows. Later I will show you. And that is from 128.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's head over to mine. And I'm now on average at 253. I'm still at extremely smooth.
That's 4 frames drop.
So my average FPS is still higher than your very first run at dual channel DDR5 6000 CL30.
Indeed.
And my 1% lows are now at 180. And your very first run with the most optimal memory configuration was 164. So my 1% lows are also still quite a bit higher.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to show this.
Yeah.
Because we're finished, right? Or do you still have another trick up your sleeve to make it slower?
This is the only thing we could still do, but I don't think it's very interesting, is go 16 gig of 6000 CL.
So this is not going to be,
but that's going to be a bit
smooth.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Because we didn't prepare for this, so like this.
You even wrote GG. Good game.
Where did I?
On top, your first one.
Oh yeah, sorry, typo. Anyway,
yeah, that's okay.
If that's the only typo, I also cheated a little bit in the numbers.
So as you can see, On Eric's CPU, we go down from 227 average all the way to 174. On my CPU, the X3D one, we go only from 261 to 257. So barely any decrease.
That's the X3D CPU.
Yeah. However, the 1% lows do get a slight hit. Yeah, so 164 on Eric's, down to 121. But there I also see some difference on my CPU. So 220 maximum and 180 minimum. But still, the 1% lows are, even in the worst possible configuration for me, my 1% lows are still better than in the best possible configuration for you. So X3D definitely can make a big difference in certain games. Okay, then let's head over to some more benchmarking results that Ruud produced for us.
It gives you to think, right? If you're going to buy a new CPU and memory is very expensive, you know. If you really check what kind of games you're playing or what kind of impact certain elements have, because some games will be impacted by like 32 gigs, 16 gig, some by more by dual channel, single channel, more by clock frequency.
Yeah. But I think what's also extremely interesting, because now the gap in terms of price between the different memory kits has also widened with the prices going up. So now the difference between a cheap kit like 4800 CL40 or a more expensive kit like 6000 CL30 can be as big as the gap between an X3D CPU or a similar one without.
Maybe you start earning money back.
Almost. So now it also becomes a very viable option to spend the extra money on the X3D part and go with the cheaper memory kit.
Indeed.
Yeah, let's have a look at Ruud's testing results. So this is also Marvel Rivals. The testing was still conducted with the 9800 X3D, so not the 9850 X3D yet, because he already tested from a couple of weeks ago. And the graphics card he's using here is also the 5090 still, but we only had one here available, so that's why we're now live demoing with two 5080s. Here you can also see that the average FPS barely makes a difference on the X3D. But the 1% lows, and I think this is extra interesting.
So the 1% lows is the
gray bar.
Yeah, the gray bar between without number.
You can see with the X3D part, and this has to do with the Infinity fabric of the AMD CPUs, it performs better at DDR5 6000 with the 1-to-1 ratio with the Infinity fabric on the 1% lows than the 7200.
That's the most optimal setting.
Yeah, so even though the average is slightly higher on the 7200, I would still prefer to go with DDR5 6000 CL30 with that specific CPU, because you get the 1-to-1 ratio, and in this game you see that the 1% lows are actually better, which will generally give you a smoother experience than that 1% average higher FPS. So I would still say the most optimal configuration, at least on this AMD CPU, remains DDR5 6000 or maybe 64.
The most optimal, if you don't look at money.
Yeah, or 6400 can, on certain CPUs, you can also still run it 1-to-1 ratio with the tire timings. Then on Intel, we also have 8200.
It's a totally different picture.
Yeah, we also have 8200 here. That's with CUDIM actually. But here you see that the performance hit you get both in average frame rate and the 1% lows is quite significant. And also the hit that you get moving over from dual channel to single channel is also quite significant.
So these results don't have 32 versus 16 gig, right?
No, this is
only dual channel, single channel.
Exactly. But before in our results you also saw that it barely makes a difference. But also on but that also depends on the game if 16 is efficient or not for your specific configuration. But yeah, this is something to keep in mind, because earlier we had the comment, so for modern CPUs it doesn't really matter if you run single channel or dual channel. That is not necessarily the case, because with the 285K, but also the 9950X, it does make a difference. It's specifically with that X3D part that it barely makes a difference. So also when we look at the 9950X, we also see when we move over to lower frequencies, to higher timings, but also from dual channel to single channel, you will get a performance hit each time, both in the 1% lows, but also in the average frame rate. So this is also Marvel Rivals, the one we tested with, but the dude has done some more testing. And one of them is Rainbow Six Siege. And here we see kind of a similar story. So here it looks like we're basically maxing out either the GPU or the engine with the X3D, but we don't really get anything higher than the 591 on average that we see here. Here we see that the 1% lows are also extremely close. So the 1% low hit that we saw in Marvel Rivals on the X3D part is not visible in every game. So Marvel Rivals is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and there we do see a bit of a decrease in the 1% lows if we downgrade our memory. In other games, that's barely visible actually. And Rainbow Six Siege is one of them.
Michiel, I just posted both on TikTok and both on Instagram the link for the AMD CPU giveaway.
Make sure to participate. Then, looking at Intel, we see a similar story. When you downgrade the memory, you do get a bit of a performance hit. And the performance hit is especially visible when moving over from 6000 to 4800. Even more so than with single channel, because here the difference between 6000 dual channel and 6000 single channel is actually quite small. But the hit moving to 4800 from 6000 is quite big. And also the 1% lows also get a bit of a hit. For
question from W. Randy B.
Oh, you're not going to read it out?
Oh, I thought you were going to read that.
Okay.
Does 3D V-Cache mainly reduce average memory traffic? Well, frame times, outliers still depend on DRAM latency and bandwidth.
Let me read this very well. Mainly reduce average memory traffic.
I would say it looks like it. I mean,
it's hard to say though, because this may also be dependent on your exact use case. What 3D V-Cache can do, so to a certain extent, is indeed reduce traffic because you can load more into that buffer. It's bigger.
Normally you depend on your L1, L2, L3 cache, and now you have an extra big cache behind it.
Yeah. And yeah, that if it can buffer more in certain situations, but very much depending on the situation, that can make up for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, to a certain extent, your statement is definitely correct, but there may be certain situations where
well,
it's not the case.
It looks like it.
Yeah,
right?
it looks like it in many situations for sure. What I still want to highlight about this slide is that for Intel on Rainbow Six Siege, you saw the big hit in performance moving from higher frequencies to lower frequencies and higher times. For AMD, that's slightly different because on the 9950X, you actually see that the biggest performance hit comes from moving from dual channel to single channel. So both Intel non-X3D and AMD non-X3D get a performance hit here, but for Intel it's mostly on the frequency and the timings, and for AMD it's mostly moving from dual channel to single channel. So this is quite an interesting difference, how different architectures can also respond differently to certain memory configurations. Then let's head over to Cyberpunk 2077. Here we also see on X3D barely any differences in terms of average frame rate between the different memory configurations. We do see some variation in the 1% lows, but also relatively minor compared to, for example, Marvel Rivals. But yeah, the performance hit of lower end memory configurations, again on X3D, very, very small. Intel and AMD non-X3D actually show a little bit of a similar story, because here you do see the bigger performance hit moving from dual channel to single channel compared to the frequency. So here they behave the same. So this is also game dependent. In the previous one, Rainbow Six Siege, we saw that Intel got the hit with the frequency and AMD got the hit in the single channel. And here you basically see that both get the hit in the single channel and not as much in the frequency for Intel anymore. So this also shows that the performance hit you get is super situational. It's not that you can say, hey, for Intel, frequency matters a lot and dual channel not really, or the other way around. In one situation, Intel gets the hit from one side, in the other situation from the other side. So it's...
Yeah, so this is also why we say, please, before buying a new system, please check what your use case is. Because the decisions on where you can save money or what CPU to buy.
But also in general, I would say if you're going for either an Intel CPU or an AMD non-X3D CPU, still invest in a higher end memory kit. For those CPUs, I would say it's still worth it to spend the extra money. For X3D, you're basically fine with all the DDR5 you throw at it. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, this can mean it is maybe more interesting to go for, especially if you're only gaming, to go for the X3D with the cheaper memory rather than a non-X3D with more expensive memory. Then Far Cry 6.
Old game, still a very nice game.
Yeah, and again, similar story. Almost no performance hit on the X3D part.
Straight line down.
Yeah. It basically doesn't really matter. 6000 is still the fastest, the dual channel 6000 CL30, but only by 4 frames compared to the worst case scenario of single channel 4800. 1% lows, yeah, with the 4800, a little bit lower 1% lows, but not that significant. Again, on Intel and AMD non-X3D, you do see a bit of performance hit, both in the average and in the 1% lows. Last game that we tested is F1 25. Slight performance hit on the X3D. The biggest one we've seen so far, but it's still only 13 FPS moving down from 399 to 386. So it's the biggest one, but still relatively small. Also the 1% lows, they get a little bit lower, but not that much. And again, a bigger performance hit. But in this game, the performance hit is for the non-X3D AMD. I would say it's not as big as we've seen in other titles. And Intel, it's a little bit bigger, but also not as big as we've seen in other titles. So that's actually quite interesting. So
Tom is asking me each week, smile, smile.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read the chat. So
he does this with his serious face.
Yes.
The resting bitch face of Eric.
No. I see several people ask for the giveaway link. I will later post in the chat again, but on YouTube and Twitch, you can find it. It's the Gleam link, which is posted each 5 minutes. When CAM RAM module will hit the market? Well, that depends on several situations because there need to be motherboard for it. There need to be, like what you're requesting, the module for it. And
we do have prototype. We have also done a live stream about this.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. I mean, it's looks like a promising technology. Yeah. The only problem now is with the memory pricing and everything going to AI, I think this will take longer.
Yeah, because also memory vendors are shifting focus.
Yeah. So
away from this development.
Yeah, so this kind of innovation will take time to come on the market. But we will check with our engineers because it's a good question what the status of that is.
Okay.
Resting human face.
That was it for the testing results. So I think, at least I hope, this gives a bit of a better view of what different memory configurations mean for different CPUs. Also for people who are considering to buy to build a new PC soon, I hope this also helps a bit with certain purchase decisions.
Better bang for a buck, save money.
Yeah, and also if you were not sure where to go for X3D or not, check out if you can maybe save that money on your RAM kit and it may be worth it.
Maybe you can buy 2 X3D CPUs from what you save.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope it was useful. I hope it gave you some insight and hopefully we also helped some people with their purchasing decisions. Before we're going to close it off for today, I want to repeat the special giveaway. Again, thanks to AMD and Martijn for providing this CPU for this giveaway. because we're giving away an AMD Ryzen 7 9850 X3D CPU. You can already sign up for the giveaway right now, and we will draw our winner in the next stream on the 4th of March.
So you can participate with the Gleam link in YouTube and Twitch. What I'm going to do, I'm also going to post a link in the other platforms where we stream live. I just did a lucky draw for another Steam wallet code, which is the Slayer. This person
Congratulations, the Slayer. You also won a Steam wallet code.
So I'm going to find this link. Let me see, preview, copy. So, because a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram are asking for it. Oh, we're live on TikTok, we should say 6, 7. You don't know that, right? You don't
I've heard about it, but I still don't know what it means.
Oh, okay.
So what does it mean?
I don't know.
You also don't know.
My kids are walking the whole day around like it. It's actually already old.
Yeah? There's already a new hype?
Oh, Skibbity Toilet, Sigma, I don't know. It's.
What does that mean? I don't have kids, I only have a cat, and my cat never says stuff like that.
Okay, so I posted a link on TikTok and Instagram. On YouTube and Twitch you can find the Gleam link. What's up for in 2 weeks' time, our next live stream?
We're going to talk about one of our new graphics cards, the RTX 5090 Lightning. Wow. So today we've shown you the B850 M-Power, and M-Power is a bit of a legacy product. Of course, this is in a modern version. Product? Yeah, but it has the legacy look and feel. But we also, of course, in the past we used to have our Lightning model graphics cards. And our latest model is the 5090, so definitely check that out. Yeah. And
so Lightning is perfect for this CPU? But yours
for
CPU.
mine, yeah. Yeah, that's basically as fast as you can go for a gaming PC.
The ultimate gaming system.
During that live stream, because Lightning can be quite a power hungry card, because basically what we did with that card is push it to the max, and also in terms of power limits, it has 2 power connectors. So we also need a powerful power supply with that. So we will also show you our new MPG AI 1600
1000
TS.
watts? No.
1600 watts.
1.6K.
And it has a cool special feature, so definitely check that out as well. So in 2 weeks' time we will be back on Wednesday the 4th of March. And make sure to tune in, because we will also draw our winner for the special giveaway, where you can win this CPU, the AMD Ryzen 7 9850 X3D. So make sure to sign up if you haven't.
Thanks to Martijn.
Yeah, thank you so much. Then we hope to see you guys again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for watching today, and have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You need to push the button?
I did. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.